So this is Gainsborough, and we've already done our little, we haven't, I will not have them do this yet, but I'm going to show it to them so that they'll know that she's going to be sitting here. This is the Mr. and Mrs. Robert Andrews that I'm going to try to sort of replicate by putting a tree, some hay, and some grass. I'm going to go kind of quickly so that we can not have to watch this forever, but I'm probably going to start by just doing some hay with a little bit of orange and a little bit of yellow, and I'm doing watercolors. I'm just using a cheap watercolor brush because that's what the kids will have. So I'm just going to kind of go through and do a little, maybe I did a little more orange than I wanted, but this is just going to be the hay. And when you're working with watercolors, you're going to want to tell them you're going to want a lot of water on the cakes, especially with these cheap brushes, but you're going to have a towel with it as well so that they can blot it as they go, because if they don't, then it will okay, so I'm just doing some hay here, and it looks like there's kind of like a little haystack that's gathered right here. I'm kind of do that in this little section.
Mama, what are you doing?
I'm painting, honey.
Painting what?
All right, so got the rows of hay, and they kind of trail off into a point, and I probably should have done that a little bit better. They're kind of meeting at a distance in the horizon, and so I'm going to try to make that happen now. All right, it looks like there's like a little haystack on the horizon line a little. I'm just kind of make my hay rows a little bit more obviously converging. All right, so once I've kind of gotten that like I want it, I'm going to start on the green, doing some, this is kind of the horizon line. Do a little green and yellow together. I'm going to go all the way over because she's going to sit in front of it, so it won't really matter. I'm just kind of mixing my greens and yellows as I go. And come after it. It's a little bit lighter in the front. I'm just going to put white. So much green in the front part, foreground, and a little more yellow. And it would help if the colors aren't really spreading well, you can get some water and just go ahead and put it on the, oh, Violet, would you please get down? Go ahead and put some water on the paint, on the paper itself. And then that'll kind of help the watercolors spread out a little bit more. If you get too much, though, it starts to bow the paper, and I don't want that. These cheap brushes aren't the best, but it's probably all we're going to be able to afford, so that's why I wanted to try to do my own picture with it so that we see it can be done. I'm just going to keep kind of blending these colors. So in just a second here, we'll put a tree. Alright, so get this side over here a little bit.
Just did the grass.
All right. Trees over here, I'm not going to make them terribly defined looking. And get a little black, a little brown over here. And maybe a little bit of yellow. Just don't want it too wet. Don't have too much water. Oops, definitely too much water there. And then I'm going to get a little green with a little bit of brown in it. A little bit of yellow. Again, I'm just kind of going fast so that we can not have a video that's too long to watch. I'm just kind of doing little strokes. Alright, so that's so far. This is kind of what we're doing. I see some water dripping there. I'm just going to spread it on. Alright, I'm going to finish up over here. Finish my horizon. Get a little bit more water on it. This is where I'm going to put my tree in a minute.
I can't figure out how to make it light or darker. Mama, big tree. Oh, here. The tree that's there is what I'm trying to make.
Not yet.
Well, not yet. She's making the grass first.
Okay, so now I'm going to try to work on this tree.
Mom, this is gonna be hard.
It is going to be hard. I'm going to put a little bit of black in with my yellow.
Oh, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's
A little bit of brown.
that's yellow.
Just a minute, honey, okay? I'm just going to kind of...
Just a minute. She's trying to do her perfectional art.
No, I'm not trying to do perfection art, sweetie. I'm just trying to... Let's just not talk right now, okay? So I can try to finish. I'm just doing a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow. She's going to be sitting in front of it, so it really doesn't have to be terribly exact. The tree kind of goes up into the... off the page a little bit. Maybe a few little.
It's okay. Okay. I'll go there.
I'm almost done, honey. I'm just gonna do the sky and then we'll be finished.
Little bits. And the woman.
Well, the woman's just gonna go on.
Yeah, that's the picture of her over there. Right, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Then you
Okay,
gotta
so
do
now
the
I'm going
mom,
to do
then
a
you
few
gotta do the
little...
man.
Violet, just a minute, please, honey. Remember I said we're just... I'm not going to talk. Just for a few minutes. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of green and brown for the leaves of the tree. A little bit of yellow. Just kind of... I'm not going to do a ton because I'm going to do some... I want to do some clouds and... just a little bit of green. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is I'm going to paint my sky with some water. This
Just
is
a
the
touch of blue.
last thing I do. You got to work quickly because it will dry. I'm not even going to worry about filling it all in because I'm just going to get some blue and just kind of go through and do little sections that look like can add a little water to it to kind of.
This would actually look like
The
this.
sections that might be a little too distinct. I'm just going to go through and add a little bit of water to them. And so this would be the landscape. And then once it has dried, which shouldn't take terribly long, and while it's drying, I would be working on Miss Andrews over here. And then I would cut her out, which I've already done, and but I would then cut her out, and then we would try to position her and glue her in the foreground onto our painting, which once this is dried, because I wouldn't want to do it. And once it's dried, she keeps wanting to sit up. I see a couple little areas that could go back in and kind of tweak a little. You could maybe go back in and make the rose, put a little bit of brown in it with a little bit of a dry brush. The older classes could definitely do a little bit more with this than the younger ones, making it, oh, that's a big clump. Making it a little more.
Now it looks even more like a road.
Looks like a road. Well, that's okay. And so that would be Gainsborough.